With attorney Cleta Mitchell. She represents Tea Party groups targeted by the IRS, and she is not happy. Cleta, good to see you. And so now we know that it's not just Lois Lerner whose emails have gone missing, but those of 6 other key IRS employees. You believe this was a cover-up. Tell us why.
Well, I absolutely think that there's something crazy about this. I mean, first of all, there are all these federal laws that require that these government employees' documents and files and correspondence and emails all be maintained. As citizens, we all have the right to file a FOIA request, a Freedom of Information request, and we get to see.
But they say, okay, but let me jump in. What they say, they were saved on a server, but the server only retained emails for 6 months, and then it would write over the tapes.
Well, if that is true, then that is an egregious breach of trust and a violation of federal law. And in fact, once the congressional investigations began and once the lawsuits were filed by my clients and others, they had a duty to immediately notify Congress and immediately notify the federal judge who's assigned to handle these cases. They have, in fact, not only did they not notify anybody, but we got a very snippy letter from Lois Lerner's attorney last September saying that when we sent a litigation hold letter, which is standard in litigation, you say don't destroy anything, and she basically wrote back and said, well, you don't have to tell me my job. Well, apparently we do have to tell them their job, but I'm absolutely shocked that number one, that this is their process, because that violates federal law, and number two, that they did not immediately notify the Congress and then immediately notify the federal judge when these lawsuits were filed.
Well, do you think that that is evidence that this is bull? Because what I'm hearing from other lawyers who are representing other victims and from those who are on the House of Ways and Means Committee who are outraged over this is they don't believe it. They don't believe that that server overwrites itself every 6 months. They think that this is all a big excuse, especially now that we've heard it's not just Lois Lerner, but conveniently it's 6 other people whose emails cannot be produced.
Well, I don't believe it. And I must tell you that, Megan, I've been hearing from forensic experts across the country who've emailed me. I've been hearing from government employees who say that all of that is downloaded every night. It's constantly saved on the server. And for them to now say, oh, we only keep it for 6 months, let me tell you this. I had a client a few years ago. The IRS was going to revoke its tax-exempt status because they deleted their emails at the end of the calendar year. And the only way we were able to persuade them not to was to agree that we would stop doing that.
The thing is,
now the IRS does it?
They would have us believe that if you work at the IRS and you email somebody and then 6 months pass, that's it. It's irretrievable. If you happen to have a hard drive crash and it's not available on your desktop, no email that predates 6 months, prior would be retrievable. That's insane. How could the IRS ever do business like that?
Well, they don't do business like that. That's the point. This is all false. I absolutely don't believe it. It is a sign of bad faith in the litigation, and I think it's contemptuous of Congress and the congressional investigations. I would note that today, Congressman Issa has issued a subpoena for all of the backup documents relating to this, because I think this is a scandal in and of itself. It is absolutely not credible.
The Lois Lerner email where she's first complaining about her crashed hard drive back in August of 2011 talks about how she is missing her lost personal files. It doesn't talk about losing emails, Cleta. Do you think that they are trying to sell us a pig in a poke here? You know what I mean? Saying, oh, look over here. She talked about lost personal files. Oh, I'm telling you, that means all of her emails. Oh, and by the way, it also means all the personal emails from 6 other IRS employees. That was one hell of a computer glitch.
Let me tell you something. I think the person we all need to be looking at right now is the director of the FBI. Because surely the FBI, our government agency that's supposed to be able to protect us from criminal activity, surely with all of its sophistication, that it could have gone in, it should be going in immediately and impounding all of this and conducting an investigation, an independent investigation. But failing that, what we're going to ask the court for is permission to bring in our own independent forensics experts to have access to these computers and hard drives.
Because right now it appears that the reason they're not producing these documents is because they say, oh, back when Lois looked for the documents in 2011, the IT department said they couldn't retrieve them. There's been no satisfaction, has there, that an actual independent expert has come in and said, I'm telling you, they're irretrievable.
That is absolutely correct, and that is what has to happen next. We need to get credible, independent forensics experts who are not just the IT department somewhere in the bowels of the IRS who are just doing probably what they've been told to do. I certainly didn't detect that Lois Lerner was particularly upset about the loss of her emails and files.
Well, and again, it's lost personal files, and who knows what that means. Now they want us to believe it's emails, all emails during the relevant time. The other thing is the Ways and Means Committee is now looking at the White House saying, okay, we can't get communications from Lois to you from Lois. Why don't you produce them, White House, if there are any? Why don't you Democratic senators produce them if there are any? Why don't you, Barack Obama's re-election team, produce any emails you had with Lois Lerner during the relevant time frame? Quick answer on this one. Do you believe they will?
I don't believe they will without a court order. And I think we are at the point in time in this whole scenario where, absent a federal judge ordering them to do these things and to follow the law, I think that they believe that they can avoid compliance with the law.
Cleta, thank you.
Thank you.